Hit it. Mikey, happy Tuesday, man.
Hey, back to you.
Hey, thanks. It's Game Winning Drive. This is episode number 3 of the 2026 NFL season. You're here with Gabe and Mikey. Man, you know, it's House of Dragons, Game of Thrones. I don't know if you watch it. The Odyssey. I just saw the Odyssey last night. There's all
So
these
you're
scenes.
real on a mythological kick.
Yes, and you know, mythological kicks, they all have these great drums. And every time I hear a good drum sequence, I'm like, dang, what drum sound are we missing? But hearing our drums come in live, it always sounds good to me, man.
Whenever I'm on like Reels or TikTok or something, and I go through and I hear, and every now and then, this happened more during the World Cup, but like bagpipes and the drums going off. And like, obviously I'm going to watch that whole video. So then like my whole feed just becomes straight drums and bagpipes, which, you know, not complaining about. I watch them. So.
Right. It was funny when the World Cup ended, having to cleanse your timeline of all the
yeah.
whether it was soccer stuff or like Norway stuff. You're like,
yeah, the whoosh. It was just all whoosh.
Right. Like, listen, algorithm, I don't need this year round. Like,
this is like a once every 4-year deal. I don't need like Premier League stuff now. Like, I don't know any of this.
Right. It's not sucking me in like you think it is.
Yeah.
Kind of the same with the World Series of Poker. I wish Elon built a button on Twitter that says, just do not show me anything with the word poker in it. I guess I could just block the word poker, but.
Yeah, but I don't know how effective it is, especially because like, you might not want to see it, but you watch it when it comes on because it's like, oh, I want to see, you know, what he does in the rest of the hand or something. So like, you'd rather not see any of it, but once you start watching a little bit of it, you have to watch it to conclusion, and then it thinks you like it. So.
Right. And it starts just chewing away at your space in your brain. The algorithm, man. Anyway, this is a Survivor lifestyle podcast. This is the last one in August. August, dude, it's feels like it's forever till we get to this football season. We've been doing this for a few weeks, and just like we're halfway to getting it started. The excitement every day, I get a little more excited. I know I talk about that every time, but it's true. And next week, things are really kicking up for Atlas, for all the stuff we're putting out, all the new features, the new videos, not to mention our projections, our new system for how we're gonna do projections. There's a lot coming, Mikey, and I know you just can't sit still thinking about it.
I don't know. I'm hearing a lot more. You tell me what you're hearing. I'm hearing more about the teams that are going to be super bad this year rather than the teams that are going to be super good. Maybe that's a function of preseason, but because it's kind of hard to get a gauge on the teams that are going to be really good because you're getting mostly second, third string, you know, that kind of stuff, vanilla offense. So it's easier to identify teams that are going to be really bad than really good. And I see some clips on Twitter of like, how bad are the Cardinals going to be? I think somebody posted something about they showed like, this was like a, you know, 7-on-7 or whatever. It was a scrimmage, like an air scrimmage, and they were like repeatedly fumbling, missing the snap. The quarterback got sacked. Like, you know, you're technically not allowed to, the defense isn't allowed to touch the quarterback. And like, I don't know, guy did like a swim move and blew up the quarterback or something.
Yeah, man. And the preseason too, like you see the worst football, right? Like you never see these guys play in the league, but all of a sudden we have these like these full, like everyone on the field you're never going to see again, right? And you know, it's not like you see the good players for very long. You know, like watching some preseason too, they feel, what is it? Why they feel like worse than college players? I guess it's just not the well-oiled machine type of thing. Obviously, they're all good. They can all go back and earn the NIL money. Like maybe you've seen that.
Yeah, the LSU dude. I don't know, maybe because, you know, when the real game hits, you have people presumably working
Teamwork.
to get to advance their team. But in the preseason, that is irrelevant. You don't care. It doesn't matter. So you're just trying to advance yourself. So if you could, pancake block somebody when the reality is you were supposed to chip this guy and then go to the linebacker, you're just going to road grade the guy and try to put that on film,
Right. You want everyone going nuts on the film room a few days later.
Yeah.
Pancake spot. Man, that was me. Sign me. Or don't cut me, I guess they're saying. Don't cut me.
Or you're playing quarterback and you're supposed to go underneath and just take a 5-yard gain. You just air it out in the hopes that you can, get into double coverage to hopefully get, whatever.
Yeah, I know one of the real ugly performances was Miami a few days ago where they got smoked, and it's all their backup dudes. They're playing. Was it Miami's playing the Raiders week 1, and the Cardinals are at the Chargers, and that's kind of. I know there's other
Browns too.
Say again.
I think Browns at Jacksonville. I think.
Yes, that one's been ticking up on the radar lately. It seemed like a couple weeks ago how the Chargers were like slam dunk going to be the most popular team.
Yeah, I think it's dissipating a little bit.
Yes, and it is kind of interesting because you think preseason, it's not going to shift things too much, but like the stories that come out of it are shifting things. People see like Deshaun Watson's attitude in Cleveland and go, like his attitude's so kind of rotten that he's probably not going to just look as good as he used to, or he wouldn't be chirping the fans so much. So we're doing projections, next week. So that's after all the preseason's done, right? This is the preseason games through this weekend. And have you like seen much of this Browns thing versus the fans?
I mean, a little bit. I know that he talks about it. This was like bubbling up over. It wasn't just like a one incident thing. They booed him when he tore his Achilles or whatever. And so he's been bitter about that. But
there's some, so they gave him all this guaranteed money. So they can kind of get out of it if he gets hurt in some type of way, right? They get like insurance money or something.
Oh, maybe.
There's something like this.
Oh, so they want him to get blown up?
I'm pretty sure they're financially better off if he gets blown up in play. Yeah. But he's like checked out. He's already counting his money and doesn't really want to play. He doesn't want to look bad and feel the pain. It's kind of like.
So you think his motivation is to play poorly, but not get injured?
I think he wants to get himself benched so he doesn't have to worry.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah. So he has to be physically able to perform, but benched due to coach's decision in order to cash his check.
Right. So do you talk like crap to the fans? Is that how you get benched? Because if you get the whole stadium booing you and the coach is like, fine, I'll bench him. But the owners are like, no, run the QB sneak again. Run the QB draw every play until someone breaks something.
Yeah, but I mean, it does get kind of weird. Like if he's not going to call the play that you're calling in and stuff, if he's like, 31 dive again, just straight dive play every play, or right. Like anytime it's a pass play, he just immediately gets rid of the ball, like throws it at the receiver's feet in an effort to. I mean, that could be weird. Things could get weird there.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. The incentives aren't lined up, and if they call the QB run the first few plays, he's going to say, "Guys, I'm handing this off. Like I don't need this." And I don't know if this stuff, the lines captured or if it's just like too crazy a speculation to even consider. But
it's rare that you get like outside situations that take place in the NFL. Like the one that I'm vaguely recalling now is the Broncos when they had like their 19th quarterback in. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, or the wide receiver tried to throw
the ball. He like played QB in college like twice or something. So they were like, all right, we're going with you.
Right, but even that's not really the outside stuff.
Yes, you're right. But it's an exaggerated situation similar to this, I suppose.
Well,
It's rare that you get situations like that. And I guess there's weather stuff that can happen in the NFL where it's just like straight blizzard, can't see anything, where that would have a similar impact.
I'm thinking like, when people talk about tanking, some people think, oh, they're going to try to lose, but then the counter argument, obviously, the whole roster is trying to like do their job and get money, put the good tape out there. They're not tanking it, but this situation, the quarterback like matters a lot to a team's success, right? Like they're like
they obviously can have the single biggest impact. Play over play, like a one play thing, the long snapper can just rocket it over the dude's head or something. But
right. If the long snapper was set on tanking for some reason,
the owner calls it into the long snapper.
He's like, you got to go extra long on these. But maybe it's all moot because, like, is Deshaun Watson not trying actually even worse than Shedeur Sanders? Like, maybe they kind of just are at the floor quarterback. So maybe, the only thing I can think of is if they're trying to get him injured, then maybe it affects the play calling, and then that's like a thing where that's not normally in play.
The old every play call ends with naked boot.
Right. The offensive line is doing the thing where, like they run a screen where they let the guy go by. But they don't.
Fake handoff right, naked boot. Fake handoff left, naked boot.
Delay, naked boot.
Naked boot.
That's another one. So just the stories like this, people are going to be like marinating in them even more as we get closer, and you got to make that first survivor pick.
Well, on this specific issue or this team, the Browns, the problem is it's not something that you can like wait to test out your hypothesis, because if this gets to like week 2, if week 1, it becomes very clear that Watson's like actively tanking, then, I don't know. They can't let it go on to week 2. You know what I mean? If he's like actively tanking, they're going to pull him before week 2. So if your theory is correct, you got to just roll it on week 1.
Right. The most turmoil might happen. Cleveland doesn't play at home until week 3.
So you think he let's say he plays horrendous week 1. They're going to let it go to week 2 and run it back and then make the change week 3. I don't know.
Well, week 3 is when the fans will be booing him from the very first snap, right? So that usually makes the coach. And they got a new coach, right? So the coach is going to try to like win the hearts of the people, maybe. I don't know.
How much is the coach listening to? The coach can't be listening to fans on like decisions like this.
Yeah, right. But you know how the thing with coaches where like job security is kind of their number one thing, and if it's the first time head coach, like some guys cut from a different cloth, right? Where they're going for, they feel comfortable getting risky. Like Dan Campbell, perfect example. He's like, yeah, I'm not worried about getting fired. 4th down, I love going for 4th down. If you think I'm stupid, well, whatever. I'm just going to do it. But if you're a new coach, you kind of think about job security a little bit, especially on a team like Cleveland where you're just like not going to win the Super Bowl.
And you're also not expected to perform. It's kind of like I don't know.
Right, that's a good point. Since you're not expected to win, since you got the $300 million contract on your dead cap, basically, what are you going to do? Have the owner get mad at you?
Yeah, it's like your goal is to shepherd the team to like the first pick for the next 2 years or something,
Yes. Man, thinking about that, I'm going to just throw the map up right quick because I'm now thinking, okay, Chargers versus Jags as a choice first weekend survivor.
Browns first Jags.
No, I'm saying as a choosing the Chargers.
Oh, I see. Chargers or I gotcha.
Like, is there any way enough people get convinced that they want to be anti-Cleveland instead of anti-Arizona and save the Chargers? I don't know. We're going to be looking at this a lot as we finalize our first like opening projections, nothing really stands out as like people are obviously going to save Jacksonville for something.
Yeah. And neither's a holiday team, so you have that working for you.
Right. Man, I wonder if it could be 80% of the field on both of those teams. People are just like, yeah, obviously take the Chargers or the Jaguars. Like, there's no reason to go down the list. Why burn Detroit, Philly? Maybe Vegas if you want to get cute, but it might be the biggest like double chalk we've ever seen in Circa Survivor.
What is the biggest?
You mean the biggest combo of week one that's ever happened?
I guess not necessarily. Well, it's harder to compare it as you get later in the season because the shrinking number of people in the contest and who people have burned are going to be a way bigger impact. So I guess you have to compare week one to week one.
Right. Usually week one there's like a 35%er and like a 25%er.
Okay.
So it's about 60%.
That's like standard. Call it 60.
Yeah, maybe plus or minus 5, but having two teams that could both be in the 30s, that's going to make for just way bigger carnage potential, right? Like
that I was just thinking that, like, yes, of course these teams are favored, and like the 2-team parlay, money line parlay would probably pay like, I don't know, 100 wins you like $40 or something.
80, yeah, 2 80%ers ish. I guess maybe 85 and a 75.
Yeah, okay, maybe it wins you like $30 or something. But I've seen parlays hit the opposite way.
Right, and then if you have an entry slide through in Circa, your $1,000 entry is worth like 5 or 6K
in one day.
Right, in one afternoon. That would change a lot. It would ruin a lot of people's seasons too.
I almost, I like it from like a game standpoint, and like I think it would be cool and it's something to talk about and fun, but like I think it would sour a lot of people's experience with the contest. So I almost, part of me doesn't necessarily want that.
Yeah, no, I hear
that.
There's definitely less demand for Survivor Atlas if everyone's
gone.
Yeah, that's why it's nice having multiple entries. And it's also why last year so many people getting that extra run.
Yeah.
Running 5-10 weeks made everyone just develop like a serious taste for playing more. And that's why we're seeing all these prize pools, pump from what I can tell.
What do you think about, okay, so like, let's say you're right and it's 80% on the top two teams there in week one. What do you think the splash one with $5 is going to look like? I have this idea that it's going to be like all over the place because, we talked about this last week. People are just like, who gives a shit? It's $5. You can just, pick 9 underdogs. I don't know.
Right.
So
right. And that one has that one has wackier rules than their high stakes one, right?
Yeah.
So we haven't figured out how we're going to do projections for Splash if we're even doing them. We're gonna put something out that's like useful, but it's a good question, dude. I think specifically that $5 one.
Yeah.
It like people are definitely going to be enticed by the Titans and the Raiders and
it's just going to be like every team is equally picked. Like I don't know. 1/32 of the pool is going to be on each team.
I think. There's some teams that are sorry, I don't have this on the screen. So we do have a splash map. We're making maps for all these contests. This is just the Circa map that's up right now. We don't have the big update on Atlas yet, but
cartographer Gabe.
Yes, thank you. I think teams like Baltimore -3 on the road, Kansas City -3 Denver. Some teams are going to be way less than other teams, right? Like even in the wacky splash pool, people aren't going to find much of a reason to take teams like that. Why take a good team who's a small favorite instead of just going Vegas or going Tennessee or like Minnesota or I don't know, Chicago. But it's hard, man. And like this morning, Atlas put out this story of the first weather forecaster dude. And it's kind of working us to a bigger point here, which is when you project something that you've never projected before, or the world hasn't projected before, it's difficult, and you kind of just have to do it. You have to just start. And we're doing this we have this homepage, like our Circa tracker, like what we think it's going to get to, and it's been all over the place. I know the model isn't like the best model in the world, right? Like if Wall Street was picking apart the model, there's so many factors that we don't include. And I was trying to think of them, like if you were projecting, Mikey, the Circa final prize pool, this like Circa knows how many people are coming to the hotel, how many people are staying at the hotel the next weekend, like for Labor Day. And also I was thinking like the top of, you haven't been to Circa yet, right? You haven't been in there. So they have the greatest sports book in the world, right? And they have these escalators that you go down, and at the top of these escalators, they have all the coolest looking slot machines, man. All the best, the brightest, the most colorful, all the things, the best bells and whistles. And like how much they crank those up against the player kind of affects the prize pool, I think. Like if those slot machines were like 100% give back to the player, the RTP, the prize pool is higher. I'm like sure of it, compared to if they're like the extra rigged slot machines. I know multiple years I've had a certain amount of cash in my pocket, and they didn't all turn into entries because of the dang Willy Wonka slot machine or whatever. So
you're still taking a plus EV thing if you think that they're turning it up. Maybe they go 102% on those ones because they know they're getting it back anyway.
Well, they're not really getting it back in Survivor, right? There's no rake.
Well,
so I wonder, would they rather, make that equivalent in the slot machine, or rather that go to the prize pool? I don't know. I would love to just ask these stupid questions to Derek, the guy who owns Circa or whatever. But anyway, the point is, there's all these things to projecting. There's different data that different people have, and it makes projecting a thing for the first time like difficult, and like you're supposed to be wrong a lot. And
well, I mean, for Circa, it's like the biggest, or not biggest, but like the most obvious thing is that it's not going to be linear. Like it's going to be exponential as you get closer to the start of the season. How many people are like early entering this versus going to enter it the week before?
Right, and that problem isn't like I'm just using that as an example. We can see last year's graph like goes straight up at the end, but it's not as interesting as a problem as actually projecting what people are going to pick too, because what people pick is 32 choices. Like you got to model them all and compare them to all, and also for that we at least have what public pools pick. Like we can go to Yahoo and see what the people are picking on Yahoo and kind of derive Circa from that. Which actually I should bring that up just because it's a little interesting. But also Circa team populated projection. This is 2026. It's been happening since 2020. We've been able to see how the crowd moves. Like, oh, I'm going to save Thanksgiving team a little more. I'm going to use this chalky team that's not a holiday team. But Splash, we have kind of nothing to go off of. How do you know how many people are going to save a double pick team that's the big favorite for the first double pick week, if it's 3 weeks away or if it's 8 weeks away? And it's going to be hard, and I don't know what we're going to do about it, Mikey. It's important.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you're going on intuition, but it's not like it's just like completely out of thin air. I mean, you've played poker for 20 years. You have played Survivor contests for half that, so it's like, you're making an educated guess, and it's more educated than 99% of people. I would suspect.
Yeah, it's weird too thinking of Splash, these structures and like the different buy-ins and the different type of player playing them and how they might be smarter, they might be dumber. I think there's like
That's kind of what I was getting at with like the $5 contest and the spread between the picks. It's like if we take the 1K contest as the standard, I think you're going to get the same thing actually in the higher stakes contest too. So like Grandissimo, the 100K, that's not going to have the same bell curve in terms of picks as the 1K contest. And then the 5K or the $5 is also going to not be the same either.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
what the differences are. I'm certain you and I both have guesses, but it's like they're not going to be the same. It's a different player that's doing it, especially if you have a guy, like me that has 150 entries of my own in the $5 one, but I'm not going to have 150 entries of my own in the larger contest. So I'm going to act differently.
Right. Also, there's a difference in the contests, but I think also the player base between Splash and Circa is a lot different.
Yeah.
Well,
that's definitely true. I mean, the mere note, like, yes, there are ways to get into the contest, but for Circa, but like anybody can enter. It's the same thing, as poker. Like you can play from Maryland, or you can play from New York or whatever, and you're playing. It takes you 18 seconds to enter that contest. For Circa, it's going to take you. There's a little more effort that needs to be put in to get into that contest.
Right. It takes some physical effort. You can't do it from the couch.
Right.
Yeah, Splash has like bigger, more people to access in a way, but
it cuts both ways.
Yes, and this is worth talking about, I guess. Like, especially because people are comparing. Oh, Circa is rake free, but you have to pay for a proxy. You have to be in Vegas, and Splash is like, we don't have that stuff, but we have rake. It helps us build technology to spread it more, and that's a good thing. And the operators who think in terms of like how to market the dollar bills, they do that type of math. But like player math and thinking about where your edges come from and what's that worth in your competition and these like the field, what makes up the fields. My gut says Circa is a lot softer than Splash.
What makes you say that? I mean, I don't know that I share your opinion, but I'm open to hearing it.
I don't know either, and I'm gonna play both because and I want both prize pools to get to $100 million. How cool would that be? Like, but I feel like Splash is like kind of like it's the tournaments and like poker tournaments in Vegas compared to online stuff, where online just attracts all these people from everywhere who are like figuring stuff out, and it reaches more of the big brains in a way. And the Vegas, having to filter the players through Vegas makes a different makeup of human.
Here's a question for you, and I just thought of it, and I don't even know the answer, or I don't even have an inclination yet. But do you think that as the prize pool increases, so the total number of tickets and players increases, that you reach a sort of a plateau in terms of like the average amount of money that a person's going to win in the tournament? Do you think that continues to increase with the
year over year?
Not necessarily year over year, but like the point being, like if let's say we have 20,000 people play versus 50,000 people play, obviously the chances are that you're going to split the prize pool some number of ways by the end of the tournament. And if you have 50,000 people, it's going to be chopped more ways, typically on average, than it otherwise would be. So I'm wondering if, as the number of people that you're adding to the prize pool goes up, the number of ways that you're going to chop it continues to go up, such that your average amount that you win is going to remain somewhat consistent. I don't know that I even believe that, but I'm just
I think that's true on average.
Yeah.
But I think also the bigger and bigger pools have like other effects that might change things. Like
you're bringing in people that suck for one.
Yeah, right. And like, but also if the pool gets so big, it might be smarter to start making different formats and not have all the money concentrated in one pool. Like,
you mean for the operator?
Right. The operators obviously want to be like, we have the biggest pool. No, we have the biggest pool. They all want to do that. But like once this Survivor thing gets a lot more mature, it kind of makes sense to do a little bit twist. Like I've always wanted to run one where, instead of each week being around, Monday, Thursday is around, and then the weekend is around. So it's like 2 rounds per week, and you got to choose between the Monday, Thursday. You get 4 games.
That's complex, but it's
good.
It's
the same.
You're right, but it's a
little too much maybe, but in my head, we could just make a map on Survivor Atlas of this, and you could easily see. It wouldn't be complex if you're looking at a map of it, right?
It's also like hardcore in terms of like the amount of time you're spending on this. So like somebody like you or me, it's like, okay, we are capable of this, but like your average dummy that's like wants to do 1 pick per week, enter it, maybe they don't even start thinking about it till like Wednesday, Thursday.
Dude, but it's just, there's maps everywhere. There's a million places who have their own version of Survivor grids, like original idea. The idea is common. As Survivor grows, everyone knows you look at a map for this stuff, right? Like I think we're rapidly maturing as a whole space here, the Survivor.
Well, to go back to what you're saying, if you did a Monday, Thursday conjunction or whatever you did, yeah, it'd be good for people that are good at the contest because you're adding more situations where you can demonstrate your ability. It's like you're adding more hands to a poker tournament. Yes, you can beat anybody in 1 hand of poker, but can you beat them in 2? Can you beat them in 4? Can you beat them in 85,000? That matters.
Okay, in poker, if everyone played like perfect. Let's say everyone studied everything and everyone plays perfect, then the thing that is going to differentiate people is like when you're sitting at the table and you can look at someone and have a live read on them. That's the differentiator once everyone plays good.
Yeah, okay.
So my like dream for Survivor is to have 100 million households playing. Everyone loves it. Everyone knows how to play. But the difference is the ball knowledge and actually using it in a way that like applies to Survivor to get an edge. Where now we're at the point where too many people rely on the ball knowledge, but they haven't learned the game yet. Like using the poker analogy, people rely on the live tells without knowing how the underlying game works.
Yeah.
So I've been doing some studies this offseason, dude. I have some kind of crazy ideas about this. And I might have touched on them a little bit. And our convo last week, dude, really put some big ideas in my head. We talked about survivorizing everything.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my homies and smart people, and everyone agrees survivorizing financial assets is worth $1 trillion idea. So well done on that, Mikey.
Thanks.
Because I want to just talk about it because it connects to something else where I think I've discovered something about Survivor, like an edge here. Where last year I wasn't really talking about this, and it's kind of like crystallized because of this conversation. So just walk with me for a second on this.
Okay.
So how we have stocks and you have options, and options are cool because it's not just a market for the price of something. inside the option, there's also the kind of variance of it, the standard deviation of it, and also a time frame thing.
Right.
So when you have all these
not
options,
a time factor.
right? So when you have markets of all this stuff, and you have the smartest, richest people in the world battling, and it creates the prices for all these things, and it helps. Just the fact that that exists helps humans understand the curve, the risky curve, the forward-looking curve of these assets.
Yeah.
And survivorizing them is cool because having different like groups of assets and then having to solve the correlation between them would kind of be like how optionifying things like introduces people solving for the time and the variance of these things. But applying it to Survivor, the actual like useful thing that I'm thinking about is, in Survivor, we have these markets for every game. We know what the odds are coming up in a couple days for the games, and the odds are pretty good. The prices are pretty good.
Yeah.
And long term, we have prices for like who's going to win the Super Bowl, who's going to go to the playoffs, who's going to win the division.
Right.
But there's an in between there, which is like we don't, as the season goes, we don't have markets for games 10 weeks away. There's just no markets on that stuff. You can use other
no market that'll take anything more than $50.
Right, and even then, like it's hard. There's plenty
They're just doing it to let you get a bet down.
Right, and there's plenty of days I want to find those markets so I can put those odds on Atlas, but like they don't even exist. Nowhere is offering them. Which maybe one of these prediction markets should just have a market on every game all season long. Like, go ahead and start that. Maybe we can get there with prediction markets. But
I see what you're saying. I mean, I guess what you're saying is, in some sense, that the predictions on a team in week 10 are, based on the current state of the team, but you're saying that the ability to do that, well, of course it's difficult because people aren't even doing it right now. But more than that, okay, I'll give you a real example. Like, let's say Raiders are +7 in week 1 and Commanders are +7 in week 1. Then in week 10, they both, one plays the Steelers, and in week 11, the other plays the Steelers. You're saying that, essentially we're saying that these teams are somewhat equal, in terms of skill level, but the way in which they get to week 10 is going to be dramatically different. And you can't just do a linear pairing for each of those teams down the road. Maybe some teams, they drafted the number 1 QB and it's anticipated he's coming in week 7 or something along those lines. But even that, I don't know, that would be baked into the price because it would be well known that that's the case.
Yes, but okay, but my point is, because there is no price for that week 10, 11 Steelers team you talked about, and if there was like billions of dollars at play for that exact thing, we would have better ideas of these forward NFL curves, these forward team curves.
Yeah, the problem is there's no market for it, so nobody's going to make a prediction, or there is no way for people to make a prediction.
Right. So we have markets for here and now. Obviously, right now it's off season. We have markets for everything, but as the season goes, we're talking about we have the short-term markets, and then we have the long-term Super Bowl type stuff, and
the intermediary.
Right. The stuff in the middle is what I think, like, this is the biggest ball knowledge edge in Survivor, is having an understanding of a team's forward curve and how some teams, not all teams have an equally like distribute or normally distributed.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say, and I'm now you're saying it better. They don't have an equally distributed way of getting to the end result.
Right, and I was doing the hand motion that really brought it together. I feel like for you. So, examples last year are I guess every year this happens. Some teams fall off, some teams get good, and I feel like I want to model this stuff myself, just to try to like get an edge from it. What factors of a team make it more so the wheels fall off? And I know Discord we've talked about it a little bit. Here maybe we talked about it a little bit, but something about last week talking about survivorizing and how that unlocks kind of stuff about it made this thought kind of crystallize in my head where this is what I think ball knowledge should be in Survivor. It should not be about, oh, I'm so much smarter than this week's odds. I know the Browns are +7, but I know they have zero chance to win because of X, Y, and Z. Ball knowledge in Survivor, it should be about the forward curves of the teams, not then the stuff now. And like once like we can embrace talking ball knowledge, but not in the now, only thinking about next month and next month, I think it gets interesting and like not really solvable, but like worth diving in and figuring out stuff from that angle.
So you're saying that is the location of the biggest edge in Survivor, because everybody can plan for week 18 if they get there, or week 7, even week 17. But
week 18 is the easiest one, actually. Week 18 is the easiest.
Yeah, by the like take our entry last year, it was super straightforward. Like there was no option for taking some wackadoo pick. It was like well defined.
Yeah,
but
there's no future considerations once you're there. It's just you take.
It's just straight chip EV. It's like it's done.
Yeah.
But this week 10, week 11 is where you're going to make your hay.
Yeah, and really like week 1 has the most future considerations, right? We have the entire season in front of us, but I feel like you can't even really say you make your hay week 1 because there's too many unknown things. You haven't seen the plays, you haven't seen the storylines develop yet. I mean, you see the stories, but it just feels like week 2 and week 3 is maybe where you make your hay.
Because by then you have slightly more information, but you're capable of using it to predict what's going to be the case in 2 months. And so if like an example, everyone thinks that the Cardinals are going to be horrendous, right? But you can certainly go either way. Are they going to be even worse than everybody's predicting, which is like bad? But they might be better than everybody's predicting. And so if you're able to establish that, then that's going to be a huge factor, because if you're going better than what everybody's suggesting, then you might hold them as a potential pick.
Right. I mean, I think everyone's going to be holding the Cardinals for a little bit.
Okay, maybe that's an extreme example, and they might be really, really bad, but I don't know. Take like the 5th worst team in the league or something. Like the Dolphins might be a good example. Like they're predicted to be really bad, but I'm notorious for this, thinking that bad teams are not as bad as what they actually are. So like the Jets, the Dolphins this year, it's just in my nature to think that they're not going to be as bad as what's being projected.
Okay, I think a better example, actually, I just brought up these power ratings, and maybe a better example is the Raiders, because those other teams that you're mentioning, everyone's saving them anyway. No one has any reason to use them. But Vegas is actually kind of in play in week 1. And if they look better than people expect, do they have some spots later in the year? They're hosting Tennessee. They're playing Arizona.
Yep.
But I don't think people are going to avoid the Raiders because they're thinking they're holding them. Maybe, every team it can have this conversation with. But I think there's something to it where, like, I haven't modeled this at all, and I want to, but thinking of all the factors where it might be a thing, like a coach is a defensive coach or an offensive coach, or is one more likely to have the wheels fall off? Like maybe the offensive coaches end up more, all twisted up when they lose one of their dudes, where a defensive dude doesn't have that problem. I don't know.
Or like the way that the wheels fall off can be different for each team. If one team starts 0-3 and a coach has been there for 3 years, that's different than if it's the first year coach that's, knows that it was meant to go somewhat bad. So like the Commanders are a perfect example. He's in his 3rd year, and so like if things go bad from the start, like it could go, it has an increasing likelihood that it's going to go really bad. Whereas the Raiders, the Cardinals, they're expected to suck bad. Or the Dolphins have a new coach too, right? So they're like expected to lose. So like if they start 0-4, it's different from the Commanders starting 0-4.
Right. I might be something to that. The kind of storyline. I can't tell if that's like after the fact analysis or what, but there might be something to that. Also, like the offensive line getting wrecked, and then like the quarterback gets injured because his offensive line was so bad. Like there's kind of narratives that play out with the injuries where maybe it's different depending on different ways. I don't know. Like the Chargers just lost their center.
Yeah.
They paid a lot of money to. Like maybe that means you want to hurry up and use them.
Yeah.
Because their QB is going to be in pain extra this year, and he's going to be knocked out by week 11 or whatever when they play the Jets. He's going to be.
I mean, football is also exceptionally difficult for this because there's 53 people, and then every single play there's 22 people interacting.
Right, but the QB is like half the strength of the team, right?
That's true, but like predicting that a QB is going to be out is notoriously difficult, and the percentage might increase like ever so slightly. So like if the center's out for the Chargers, let's just say that increases the chance that Herbert gets injured by like, I don't know, 0.7% maybe.
It might be like 8% though, or 20%. I know people are modeling this too. Like people are modeling injuries because there's so much money for guarantees and insurance and all this stuff. Like I know people are modeling this. Someone out there has the answer for what Herbert's injury likelihood just changed because of the center going out. And if you're listening to that person, I want you to hit me up, please.
I guess there's, aside from like betting on the actual injury itself and like what week it'll take place, you can take his player props, right? That has to be a factor. They have to factor that in. So like his passing yards for the season just go under, right?
Right. And it'd be if the team had to buy insurance every week.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. You're like, oh, they're going to insure him for a lot this week because they've seen him practice. Their whole front line is wrecked.
That would be a wild market, like short-term insurance. Like if you had to assess the likelihood that your house burns down in a given week
every day,
every morning, you're like, should I buy a home fire insurance? And you're like, it's $11. You're like, oh,
right. Like I'd rather like today I'm going to just buy a 6-pack instead, and
like I'm going to be home all day today. So like I feel like if something breaks out, I can address it. But like if I'm, if I know I'm going grocery shopping for like a bunch of hours, I might buy it that day.
Right. Or like today I got my bucket of water right next to me. So like,
yeah,
I'm going to save the
like, double holding extinguishers or something like that.
Right. The whole family's got double extinguishers. We're saving this $11 today. We're going to die.
Like car insurance on a daily basis. You're like, I'm only driving to the grocery store. So I'll screw it. Roll the dice.
Dude, that's a good idea, man.
I'm full of good ideas.
Dude, Mikey, you only buy insurance when you leave the house.
Everything you can insure, like every, I don't know, like insurance on losing your wallet if you go out to a bar at night, like, maybe it's like like $3 or something for the night. You're like, I'm going to get hammered, so I'm definitely buying it.
Or like a restaurant having food poisoning insurance. You're like, this place has a real low premium because they never mess it up. But you go down to Spring Mountain, and all of a sudden you got to pay an extra $3.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I like
Your
that.
whole life, you just be glued to your phone, like buying insurance.
I mean, I guess we're kind of getting closer to this reality with prediction markets eating everything.
Yeah.
But we need the AI providing liquidity on the other side, so that way they actually take your bets for all these things.
Yeah.
You can't just depend on some guy in Maryland to take the other side of your food poisoning action.
Yeah.
You need some robots doing it. Hey, speaking of robots, dude, did you see any of this robot Olympic stuff?
Yeah.
Or does it make you terrified, or you like
No, like I don't want to come out with like a sweeping opinion just because that this issue exists and like I should have an opinion on it. But like,
sure?
I do see the people that are like, super warning nerds about the future of AI. And like, I can't get like jacked up about it. I'm just not like scared about it.
Dude, well, you don't have any robots, man. Someone else is going to have the robots, and these.
That's true, but like the impending doom and gloom, the
Right, we're not doom and glooming here.
it's the nerd alerts that are like, oh, we got to put these things in place to prevent this and all this stuff. Get lost. Like it's not that difficult.
Hey,
turn it off.
You see the one? I don't know the exact rules. Like they have to have some human shapes to them or something like this.
Yeah.
But do you see the one that figured out like a new way to run? Where
I didn't see that. I saw that one dude took the turn a little too tight and got sideways on it, and then he just fell.
Okay, there was one. Maybe they had to run a full lap or something like this, or a mile. I don't know. But this robot, it learned running on its own. It didn't learn it by watching a human, and it realized like it didn't need to swing its arms all the way back. It's like a human mistake to swing your arms that far back. So it would lean forward and just swing its arms like
into your hip pocket and then up. It wouldn't go all the way back. It would just like chop it.
Yes, dude. And it reminds me of like these things, whether it's solving Go, remember AlphaGo, I don't know if you
yeah.
Or solving poker, where it's like at first things get solved and you're like, why does it do that? And then everyone learns from it. Yeah. And I'm wondering, like in a generation from now, if running is going to be taught.
Yeah.
This is faster. You gain an extra thing by doing this, and just. I wish I had. I should have.
Yeah, I mean, people were like going head first in the high jump for a while until the Fosbury flop dude. When he went back.
What were they doing before?
They were doing like a scissor kick over it.
Oh, interesting.
So like the high jump record went from like 4'3" to like 7 feet, and after this one dude just started nailing it.
That's cool. I guess the robots can work on all sorts of stuff like this. Like, I mean, running seems like we've been perfecting
running, sprinting straight ahead seems solved.
Right, but it's only
maybe it's not.
Right, because we've been doing it the comfortable way, but it turns out if you just do a little.
No, I just had this idea that so you know that in swimming, freestyle is not a style of swimming. Freestyle means you can choose whatever method you want, and so yes, everybody knows that the fastest way is the what we call freestyle. But maybe we get the robot in there, and he's like, "Oh, it turns out the fastest way is like windmill or something, something wackadoo."
Super dog.
Yeah, inverted dog or something like that.
Man, I haven't seen robots in the pools yet, man. I haven't seen the robots swimming, but I guess we need that too.
Yeah, we need them to solve swimming. Soon enough, everyone's gonna move from freestyle to some outlandish method.
Yeah, but I guess the robots would just turn their hands into fins and paddles and but
go from this type of joint to ball and socket joint and just like
right. I don't know if I want to. I mean, the Robot Olympics. Obviously, it's a great idea. I want to check back into it and see what the exact rules are for how they have to be like humans. Because obviously, if you're trying to get around run a lap, maybe legs aren't even what you really want.
Well, the one dude was like running, and I think he would have won if the track was banked, but obviously it's a flat track. So like he was kind of playing it as if it was a bank and like kind of decreasing his angle, and he just decreased it too much that his legs went out from under him. So I guess that's kind of another way to go about it. We might see like sprinters now around the corner, they don't really change their angle, but like maybe you just see like, side runners now around the turn in a sprint.
Right, like when you got the motorcycle and you lay it down flat.
Right, and then the knee is like right on the ground.
Right. Well, hopefully these robot Olympics run every year instead of every 4 years, because we need to see the next version of these two.
And then we'll do Robot Survivor, the teams that build the best one.
Do you give them guns, or what's the survival element? You just drop them
off? We pick the.
Oh, right. I thought you were talking the most
literal survivor.
Like the TV show Survivor, but you just put robots on an island, and then that way you can introduce weapons without anyone.
Yeah, getting hurt.
And you can play Survivor on it. Matt, thinking of that show, for Survivor Atlas in our Discord, we've run this CBS Survivor betting game for a few years now, and now that the winners are like announced on the prediction markets when the show starts, it starts in a couple weeks. We can't even run it anymore. So sorry to all the people who've had some fun playing, but that chapter is over.
There is one thing I want to preview for next week. We were going to do it today, but I want to introduce it, and then maybe people can think about it and then give us their suggestions. But the idea was me and Gabe have similar backgrounds, and I think I'd like to hear his answers, and I hope he'd like to hear mine. But the idea is we come up with a short list, top 3, top 5 of the current best sports money making opportunities. And so this could be, if you think it's NFL sides, you're wrong, but like that is certainly one thing that you can pick.
You might be wrong.
Well, I'd love to hear your argument.
Go through your list first. I've got 2 cents about that.
Well, some ideas are college basketball. I think is especially lower divisions and totals, not sides. I think most people would probably think that that's higher on the list in terms of availability. And then like an obvious answer is super low information, low trafficked sport. So I think we were giving some example last week, and it was like Finnish ping pong or something. And that's always going to be your best bet if you're capable of getting a ton of money down on it, which is unlikely. But that's always going to be your best bet. So like, NFL, Premier League, cricket in India, Pakistan, like those are the most heavily trafficked games where everybody knows every piece of information. So getting one up on your competition is super unlikely.
Dude, Mikey, you can't get me all wound up about this stuff right near the top of the hour. Now we got to add an extra.
I know. Okay, put a pin in it.
Okay. First, there's so many things you're talking about. I gotta wait a whole week to say all this stuff.
Yeah.
Gotta go. One is mention markets. Have you ever messed with these?
Yeah.
Obviously they can't get too big because then they just get rigged.
Yeah.
Where the person can bet against themselves or do it.
Right.
Like, did you see George Santos tweeted he was going to go to a thing?
Yes.
And then he bet against himself.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know who fined him, but someone fined him on that.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, the NFL sides, early in the week, they're a little soft, and now it's easier to bet big money at the beginning of a week. I don't know how long this stuff will last, but because of prediction markets, there's Sunday night markets for the next week or Monday night for the next week. Maybe there's something there. And last thing I wanted to touch on, do you know what best ball is? Have you ever played best ball before?
Are you talking about golf?
No, is it called football best ball? I'm so best ball fantasy football.
I have an idea. Does it mean that you don't have to pick your starters? It just takes your
It's
high
like,
person at a position?
okay, it's like you draft a team against other people. It's like snake draft or whatever at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And then you just like let it play out. And I know I'm dumb I just know people play this for money and people like it. And is it bigger than Survivor right now? It might be. I'm so uninformed on this, but
so you don't have to pick who you start each week, and you can't add to your team or
right, which is kind of the miracle of it, or the magic of it. You don't have to do anything. You just it's the draft. You're drafting, and then you sit back and watch it play out. No more decisions.
So, like, you would need to pick 2 defenses, presumably, because, on a bye week, you'd have to have another defense come in. You'd have to have a lot of spots on your team, right? Or is that part of the thing where you're going to have a natural bye week and like lose points there?
I don't know, dude. But as far as sports money making things, it's like I have never had access to these things. I see people talking about it and playing it, and it seems fun. So just keep your eyes peeled for that, Mikey, because
all right.
I think in Vegas there's like no options for this. Anyway, there's all sorts of ways to make money. We're gonna talk about even more next week, along with having our first Circa Survivor projections, our real projections.
Yeah.
That's going to come out an hour before the show. Also, the big Atlas update. We're so close to getting it out. And I know I have said this. I'm telling people in Discord stuff's coming out and it's not out yet, but we're pushing to get it all done. There's just lots of new stuff this year with Splash running these big things. Excuse me. Also, it was sharpening up our Circa tools that people like have grown to kind of rely on. And we've learned a lot from them.
My fantasy drafts too. 1 week from today. So shortly after the show next week, I will be in the lab.
Dude, next Tuesday, man, I want to see you with a football jersey on, just completely football broed out, because that's your big day, Mikey.
All right, that's my day.
Okay, hey, thanks for joining us today, Mikey. Enjoyed hanging out as always, man, and catch you next week. Game winning drive.